think it can sit outside of a normal risk tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some clients where we're looking at what's going on and they're saying, I just want to do this as part of the long-term plan. We always knew we'd be contributing, so now's a great time.
Yeah.
So we're setting it up to do weekly contributions instead of maybe stretching it out and doing monthly contributions, lowering the amount per week because things are changing every single week. So we want to take advantage of dollar cost averaging on a shorter time span.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be going into a normal, their regular portfolio, whatever they had.
Okay.
So the next one is for people who are feeling a little bit spicy and say, all right, so what we could do is say you are in an 80-20 portfolio and you're realizing that this isn't scaring you at all. You're actually kind of into the ride. You're digging the roller coaster.
Mm-hmm.
We could now put you into a 90-10 because you'd be buying into the investments, the stocks lower,
Mm-hmm.
And take advantage of where the bond prices are. Basically, you'd be rebalancing yourself and doing exactly what the money managers are doing, which is why we listen to them. We want to know what they're saying.
Right.
And then there's a third category of the people who say, I want to take advantage of this, but I don't want it to have any impact on my financial plan. And to them, I say, great, let's start an outside brokerage account and you can choose a bunch of stocks or maybe just go to an S&P 500 index and let that do what it's going to do, but it doesn't impact anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I see those as really three options for continuing to invest in the low market, but you have to know what you're comfortable with.
Right. So let's start with this from the beginning and say that while you are a financial advisor, I am not, and none of this we're talking about is actual financial advice. If you need financial advice, contact Bailey and she'll give you her information after this. So that's my quick caveat. So people who, let's say, are new to this and they're interested in defining their risk tolerance, how do you help them go through that?
Great question. And yes, none of this is financial advice. These are merely discussion points and disclosure.
Yep.
So the way I do it is rather involved,
Mm-hmm.
although I'm betting even the people who invest with me don't even know how involved it is. So there's the risk tolerance questionnaire, the RTQ, as we like to call it, which is a series of usually like 10 to 12 questions that are worded in a ridiculous way
Mm-hmm.
that ask you how you would feel if your portfolio went up or down a certain percentage, how long you're going to keep the money in this account. A lot of things that just make you think about the reality of investing. This is a really great guide and a really great starting place because from there you'll come out into a certain category. So maybe it's moderately aggressive, maybe it's balanced, maybe it's defensive. From there, it's about talking to the clients, talking about what they're really going to do with the money, and also taking a look at specific portfolios. Because sometimes people say, oh, I'm not going to use that money. And then in conversation, they say, I'm thinking of buying a house in 5 years.
Mm.
And you say, well, are you going to use this money? And they say, oh, yeah, totally going to use some of this money. I say, well, then this isn't money that's going to be in there for 20 years. So this changes how we want to invest it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we get through everything and we end up with the exact same risk tolerance that came out through the questionnaire, but in discussion, it comes out that people want only socially conscious investing. So now we're going to different companies, or we're looking at different characteristics. So risk tolerance is one piece, and then investment preference is an entirely different piece. So I think that those all go hand in hand when looking at a portfolio. It's become a lot more complex than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I'm trying to think that there's much else that it's so much conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually my favorite thing is to have a couple fill out a risk tolerance questionnaire in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And they always apologize because they get into really deep discussions. But that's really how I learn the most, is what they think of, oh, I'd be comfortable with this loss. You'd be what? No, that's not okay at all.
Yeah.
And as a result, sometimes we end up with each person in the couple with a different investment account with a different risk profile.
Very interesting. So so let's say people who are new to investing and let's say they haven't, gone through this process before or set up an investment account, is now with the market volatility hitting on a daily basis, is now a good time to defining your risk tolerance and maybe looking into that, or is it better to wait until things shake out?
I would say it depends, which is a very helpful answer.
Right.
The first thing it depends on is how much liquidity you have outside of the money you're going to be investing. Right now, I would say no one should put any money into the market that they wouldn't be okay seeing it drop by 40% the next day. If that's going to take you to a place where you need to pull your money out,
Mm-hmm.
then right now is probably not the time to start investing. This is like jumping into the deep end.
Hmm.
Some people are good with that. Some people just are like, yeah, this is what the market is, and I'm going to ride that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people not so much. Some people might just want to go in, buy a basic mutual fund or ETF and say, I'm going to buy it now because I know that the market is down, and I know that historically the market has always recovered. So I'm going to get this, and I'm going to put a reminder in my calendar for a year from now, and I will check on what it did at that point, and I'm not looking at it until then.
Mm.
So it depends on how you want to interact with your money,
Mm-hmm.
and also why you're investing. It's a big piece of it. Are you investing for fun? Are you investing for the long term? Are you investing because you really like this company? I have one client who, not recently, but owns one individual stock. The rest of what we're doing is in large managed portfolios. He owns one individual stock because it's a company that he feels really strongly about. He did the research. He knows exactly what's going on, and it means something to him. Mm-hmm. So that's why he has the stock. It could go up, it could go down. That's only part of it.
Okay.
So I'd say that might play a part for some people right now is, are you going to support a company? Or are you going to say, hey, Amazon's looking pretty sweet? I mean, who knows if they could burn and crash, but crash and burn, that's how that goes.
Although they could also burn and crash, their warehouses could catch on fire, which would cause the burn and then the crash. So I think with them, it works both ways.
My cousin actually has one of those warehouses. I think that maybe I can't endorse them too much.
Probably not then. but yeah, okay. So let's get a thing about that one. So let's back up 1 second then, because there may be multiple types of individuals listening to this podcast. and I want to hit a couple of different areas. So let's start with the individuals right now who have lost their position in one way or another, which now is a big sector of people who have been furloughed, from the restaurant industry to the arts to even just traditional businesses. And so they're sitting in this area of uncertainty right now. For the clients that you work with who are in that area, how have you been advising them to look at the market and to look at their current situation?
Well, the first thing that I've been telling them is that sucks and I'm so sorry. It's awful. And there's no way around that. And whatever we do, it's not going to be perfect. It might not even be good, but we're going to do the best that we can. After that, we talk about money.
Okay.
So the first thing is we want to look and see the emergency savings. I joke sometimes with clients that other than the actual planning and those like 5 or so meetings where we're really getting into it, I'm so boring that like you'll never want to talk to me. Because people go, oh, should I do something? And I'm like, nope, just keep saving. Just hold that path.
Yeah.
You know, I've said it too. I'm so boring. But this is exactly why. You need to have that savings account. You need to have the emergency fund. Mm-hmm. So I'm really hoping that when I'm working with people that they have that at least 3 months worth. Mm-hmm. So if they do, then obviously things get a little easier, but there's still work to be done. Mm-hmm. If they don't, things get a little more critical. Now, I can't create income. That's just, unless people's investment accounts are big enough, one of the first things to do is to go through your budget. And I think everyone should be doing this now, unless you have absolutely no concerns about money in the world. Just go through your budget and see what things are luxuries. See what things are luxuries that you just don't need right now. I was talking to someone today who she has a website for her business, and she was looking at the package that she had and realized that she didn't need a website that was more than 1 page because no one really clicked through. She's got an Instagram, she's got everything else. So she just lowered that and is saving money. She went to free versions of certain things. She was like, I'm not really losing any value because nobody really cares.
Yeah.
A lot of what we spend money on is about ego, or extra convenience. Like I pay for Hulu that doesn't have commercials. Mm-hmm. That's such an indulgence. Like, let's be honest, it's such an indulgence. Yeah. So there are a lot of things like that. Go onto iTunes, see what you're paying for in subscriptions. I guarantee there's stuff that you don't even know you're paying for. I did this like a year ago and realized I was paying for HBO on both the Apple platform and the Amazon Prime platform. How? I don't know, but I just saved myself $360 a year.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Just see where your money has been going, and start to make priorities. You can sign back up for them when the money starts pouring in again. Mm-hmm. But remember, especially right now, each dollar that goes out can only go out once. It can't be spent twice. So if whatever is going out, say it is going out for HBO Go, that's money that's not going towards groceries or rent. Mm-hmm. So we really have to look at priorities. And I think that's going on around the world, whether people have income or not. For people who are looking at taking from investments, there is a hierarchy of where you want to take from.
Okay.
Although there has been a nice little shift in the the recent bill, the relief bill.
Mm-hmm.
So